Well, we've got about 10 school groups already, Cynthia, on the line. Do you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, I think we should, and hopefully everyone else can start getting online before our film starts.
So welcome everybody to UCTV Alive for Kids. It's great to see so many people here, especially on the second last day of term for lots of people. Everyone must be really excited about school holidays, even though it's pretty cold at the moment. We've got a special episode this month with Cynthia Howard, who's here on the screen already with us. But before we get started, I'll just go through a couple of things quickly. Some of you may already know this if you watch regularly, but your camera and your microphone's been disabled to protect your privacy. So if you need to communicate with us, just use the Q&A function, and that will come in handy later on in the episode when we do have a break for questions and answers. The other thing to know is that it's being recorded, but so that's the other reason that we turn off your camera and your video. So that will be completely available on the Peter Underwood Centre website. And you can also go to the UCTV page of our website to register for upcoming episodes. We have lots of different things on UCTV, as you may know if you've watched before. Today we have the amazing Cynthia Howard to talk about what is country. But before we do that, I'd really love to acknowledge the country that I'm on. And preparing for today's episode made me think about what's important about where I live. And I grew up on beautiful Biripi country in Taree in New South Wales. And it's coastal and there's the beach. It's really different to where I live now in Huonville, which is Malakadi country. Or Malakuti country, and that's on the Huon River. So it's misty. This morning I was driving through fog, completely different, but I love where I live. We've still got a few more people coming through, Cynthia, which is really good too. It's a huge crowd today watching.
Wow.
We're really excited to hear where everyone's from, and that you'll have a chance to do that later on. We'd love to hear about the country that you're on. But before we show a video that Cynthia has helped make to explain with what is country with Aboriginal students from Dunalley Primary, Cynthia, do you just want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, Yapa Lingana, welcome everyone, and thank you. It's great to see that there's so many schools coming in. My name's Cynthia Howard, and I actually live in the Muanina Nation, and so that's down Blackmans Bay. But I know the area that Tess comes from, Malakadi or Malakadi area, because I worked in the Huon region for about 10 years, and I believe there's some Huon schools that might have linked in today. So hello everyone from down there. I've also travelled all around Tassie teaching music with the Music Countess Inn. I've been to Rosebery, I've been to Smithton, I've been to Burnie, Devonport, Launceston, right down to Baghdad, Brighton, South Arm, and many of the schools around southern Tasmania. And one of the things that I have worked on at many of the schools that I've been teaching is what does country mean? And part of that's from my own journey growing up in Taroona and feeling very connected to the bush in that region. What were some of the special things to me? And I've been really fortunate to have met many Tasmanian Aboriginal people who've shared their knowledge openly and willingly to me about what it means, what country means, and that we're all part of this journey together. And that's encouraged me to think, well, when I'm working with students, what's special about the particular place where we all come from? So down the Huon, we've got beautiful rivers down there and magnificent mountains, and sometimes really crazy weather. And in other places, it might be the animals. What are the special things for you? And so when I was fortunate to work with the lovely school at Dunalley Primary School, hello Dunalley, I worked with the Aboriginal students there, and we looked at what was really important to us in the area in Dunalley, and I wrote a story through the various words of exploring around the area, and mushrooms became one of the things, and birds and the wispy clouds. It was a beautiful day when we were actually gathering our thoughts. And then we put all those words together and we came up with our own story. That story then turned into a song, and And then we used our artwork and drew the various aspects of that story and created this film that you're going to see later today.
I'm going to put it on right now, Cynthia. I can't wait to show it to everyone. So it's a little bit quiet, the volume at the start. I've got it on the max volume at my end, but in class, teachers, or at home, parents, carers, you might just want to turn the volume up a little bit. It does jump up once the speaking and the music starts, but just keep that in mind. But I'm going to go ahead and share it now, Cynthia.
Great.
Okay. All right. 1 second while I do this, while I select it. All righty.
Country is the grasses, leaves, and branches. With birds nest high in the sky. It's the dirt, the sand, and the water. Country is all things we need. Close by. There are mushrooms, shrubs, and animals with parrots all flying by. There's rocks, sticks, and flowers, and gum trees, gum nuts, and seeds, all ready to give you life. And it all makes you wonder. What my place is. In my community, my family, and my country. My mind flies away, celebrating the story through the whisky past hand. As I search high in the sky to find an answer. And I realized, country is all of this with you and I.
That is such a beautiful video, Cynthia. It's so great to see what those students put together. I loved all the artworks, the poetry, all the different references to things that they're seeing. And then that kind of statement at the end that it's everything. It's not just the physical environment. Country is also about connection to that place and what you feel about it, and the stories that you've heard, and maybe your ancestors that have lived there. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would add about to that video about what country is?
It's a really personal sort of process to go through, because we've all got something different to add. I really love the last section where, we're thinking about what country is, and that country looks after us and nurtures us. It also hurts when we don't look after it. And we can't live without country. So it's really important for us, to look after country, to protect country, and to acknowledge country. You know, like we're nothing without our beautiful country and the beauty of our country, even when the weather's crazy. You know, like all those seasons are just amazing, and we're so fortunate here in Lutruwita, Tasmania, to have such variety. Like every season is just beautiful. The winter's beautiful and the summers are beautiful, and sometimes they're all a bit wild too, but that's kind of beautiful. I was working down at Tasman Peninsula, and it's just stunning. The whole area is just stunning, and how fortunate are we? But I think when we're realizing all this, and then we look at each other and realize that we're all part of that journey. Even though it's an individual thing, we're also part of that journey together. And, you know, the last part, I'm searching high in the sky to find the answers. And then I realize that country is all of this with you and I. So togetherness is a really lovely part of it as well.
Yeah, that's great. Gillian, I'm not sure if they're from a school or if they're from a home group or they're watching from an organization, but Gillian's just written in that there were some really beautiful descriptions in the video. They loved the wispy, sparse clouds. Yeah, I love that too, Gillian. It would be great to hear what other people thought of the video and to hear about the place where they are right now, or about what's important to them with their country. But you might also have questions about exactly how the video was made. Like, how does that work? If you're got all the different sounds and all the different students working on things and all the different pieces of poetry or writing, how did you make that song, Cynthia? And how do you do that at other schools? So feel free to send in absolutely any question. If you mention your school name or classroom group or home group, we can give you a shout out. But what we'll do now is go to a 3-minute break screen so that you can have a bit of a brainstorm where you are of some questions, send them through, and then when we come back, we'll read them out. Sounds good? All right, I'm going to share this 3-minute break screen now, and I'll talk to you soon. And we're back. So many questions just came through during the...
I know.
And you've already been busy, Cynthia, answering some of them using the type function, which is amazing. I don't think we've had a guest do that before. It just goes to that because you're at the Tas eSchool. I think you're really used to answering things in boxes on the screen or answering things to screen live. I'll just do a quick shout out to the Tas eSchool because that comment that came through from Gillian at the start. Gillian is one of the teachers at the Tas eSchool. She's just let us know during the break. So we've got 15 students watching, and it's really exciting, especially because Cynthia spends a lot of her week working with students at the Tas eSchool. And I don't think we've had any Tas eSchool students watch before. So hello. But like, should we get stuck into it, Cynthia? We've got so many.
There's heaps of questions there, which is fabulous. How do you do it? Well, I think there's quite a few questions there on how you do it. It takes me, well, as a music teacher, because I would see people probably 40 minutes a week, it would probably take a term of work. But if you've got more time, then you can get through it really quite a lot faster. I guess the first process is sharing the ideas of what is country. Because if I just said to you, okay, what is country? You might like, well, what is it? So I share some videos, some stories, some books from Tasmania, Lutruwita, but also from other parts of Australia. What does country mean to various people? And then we start walking around our school. We just walk around our school and we just take notes. And, you know, the day that we actually came up with our words at Dunalley Primary School was a really warm day. So that's why you've got the wispy, sparse clouds, because it was a really beautiful day. I think it was sort of like early autumn when you get those, you know, fabulous warm days and you just want to lie in the grass. And there was bits of fungus and mushrooms coming up as well. So, you know, it could change. If we had walked around when it was raining, it might be a completely different story. So we just gather all those words and we just do a mind map, just throw it all there. And then we just put the words together that are similar. And so then you get these similar words coming together that then helps us string together sentences. And that from those sentences, then our story comes out of the sentences that are created. And some people have also asked, how did you create the music? So once we actually had some sentences, then we've got rhythm. And once we've got some rhythm, then we're able to put that onto our xylophones. For those who are musical, we use a pentatonic scale. And if anyone does want to, it's actually not that hard. So if anyone did want to know, maybe they could let you know, Tess, and I could, give more information about how you could do that. So then the students just go around and they just make up a little tune. I give them all a sentence. Every student has a sentence and they just come up with a little tune that works within their sentence on this pentatonic scale. I gather all that information up and then I start putting it together and make it into a tune. And then it's just a matter of me teaching the tune to the students. Now, we actually have got a song. I'm not sure if we're going to get time to actually sing through that song, but it creates a song. Because we end up with the story, then we also then allocate to each student a section to draw. So that's why you've got all the different drawings. And each student also gets the words for that drawing. I record those what people are saying and take a picture of their drawing. And then I've been using Photo Story, which is probably a little bit old these days, but it works really nicely. It's a free program, but you could just as easily put it through PowerPoint and add your sound. So I sort of have the music coming in underneath, and then we use pretty nice microphones to try and get our sound, but I'm always trying to find a better way, because sometimes I sort of think, oh, that's not loud enough, or, so there's a bit of editing. So it is a bit of work, but I would say I've put together probably 12 of these films so far. So Huonville, Geefston, Franklin, Dunalley, Illawarra Primary School. So we've put together many of these films. So there's more that we could share if anyone's ever interested. I hope that's answered some of our questions here.
It answered. Sassafras Primary School, Hayley and Billy from Sassafras had asked how long did it take to make, and we said about a term. And also Emily at Queenstown at St. Joseph's asked also how long did it take to make it. There's so many questions here. They're the first two I can see. I'll give shout outs as we go if I see someone else had asked that. I guess Eliza at Queenstown Primary also asked, when did you make it? Like what year or what term?
Well, this film was made last year, so it's pretty recent. It's the most recent film that we've made. And I have to say that Dunalley very kindly agreed for us to share this film as well. And if they're not with us today, I'm hoping that they will see the recording, because I think they should be really, really proud of the work that they did. The other thing that we did that was a little bit different with Dunalley than I had done with the other schools is there was lots of conversation with the Aboriginal students with their families as well. So notices went home and encouraged families to come in and be part of the film. So a lot of the pictures were actually drawn with family members with us as well, which was a really lovely sense of bringing community together. And so when we finally presented the film and those families were there at our assembly, we presented it in an assembly. It was a real ownership of our film, something that we had travelled with together. So that was a really lovely inclusion. In other schools, I haven't always just done it with Aboriginal students. It's been something that I've done with a lot of my classes, the whole class as well. So, it's open to different ways how you can put such a film together. Yeah.
Yeah. We are bang on 10 a.m, which is when we said we would finish, but we did start a couple of minutes late because we had that registration issue, which I apologize for, everyone. I tried to remove the need for the registration because I was worried some of the Tas eSchool students might not be able to watch, and then realized I'd have to reinstate it. Anyway, I think some of you had to re-register. So we might just go over a couple of minutes if you're okay with that, Cynthia.
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. There were a bunch of questions here from Burnie Primary School that look really interesting. We've answered the first one about how long it took. They've got some questions about like, how do Aboriginal people feel when they are on country, and what instruments did you use for the video?
Right. Well, I mean, I can't really answer the question about how anyone feels on country, because it's part of your individual experience. And I feel very privileged to be working in this space, because as a non-Aboriginal person, and to have been working with Aboriginal people who've said, please, share this information, is a real honour for me. And as I said, the journey for me is a very personal journey. It's been probably about 10 years long, if not longer. Even, well, I mean, I was asking these questions as a child growing up in the surrounding areas of Taroona, and I should say Ferntree, where I also had my schooling. So yeah, that's I guess that's an individual thought about what you think. But sorry, the second question was there, Tess.
What instruments did you use? So you were saying,
well, yeah, that's right. So yeah, so there was the main song that you can hear sort of underneath, but the students also created what we call a soundscape. So you might have heard that there were birds whistling, and the students decided they just wanted to have some whistling sounds themselves. Other students, we just used traditional Western percussion instruments to create sounds of leaves or wind or the sea. But you could use any instrument. Like, it's really nice bringing in river rocks and using traditional Aboriginal instruments as well, or clapsticks that are used for ceremony. But we tended to use the percussion instruments that were available to us at the school. But there's no reason that people couldn't use instruments around their home. I mean, the sound of paper, rustling could signify something for you, that, so, even leaves, getting a bunch of leaves and rustling them together is a really, really useful sound. So any sounds really that you can think of.
Bernie also asked about why was Dunalley chosen for the project. It sort of sounds like you've just been doing work around all different schools in Tassie. You might spend a term at a particular school, and that was the reason why Dunalley, did that video.
Well, no, well, partly. I just seem to move around, not deliberately, but that's just where my placement was. And it's one of the things that I'm really keen, if a school is eager for me to work with their students, I let schools know, look, this is something that I really love doing. Would your school be interested? And so Dunalley were really interested in having an Aboriginal education program that I helped run, and part of it was creating this film. We also did some other things as well. So I hope that's answered your question there.
No, it definitely did. Someone asked a question. I'm just going to find it so I can do a shout out about the age of the students who were doing it. Can't find it. There's like a million questions here. But what was the age? And Bernie Primary also asked how many students did it. Okay,
well, it's varied. So when I have previously done it as a classroom activity, because I'm a music teacher, so I would often take, as teachers, classroom teachers send their students into the classroom. So I'd have a whole class. So there would be, could be 25 students. The film that we made at Dunalley probably was a bit smaller, because we were just working with the Aboriginal group there, and there was probably about 12 students. So in the primary schools, if I'm taking the whole class, I usually aimed it as a grade 1-2 program. But with the Dunalley students, that was actually any of the Aboriginal students. So that ranged from kinder all the way through to grade 6. So the pictures are quite different. As students are, you've got some older students drawing, you've got some younger students drawing, which is really lovely, that really inclusive practice.
Yeah, I think it was the Tas eSchool who'd asked about the age. So that's good to know. And Archie from Sassafras Primary School was another person that asked about how many students helped make it. So lots of questions about that. Maybe we have time to do one more question, Cynthia?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you want to pick one from the list?
Oh gosh. I've been looking I'm just sort of thinking.
Yeah, there's so many good
There's
questions.
so many good questions.
While you're reading,
Yeah.
There you go.
What's my favourite thing about Aboriginal culture? Thank you, from Sassafras.
From Jaden.
Look, it's to know about it, like I grew up not knowing and not understanding and having, been told that there was that there were no Tasmanian Aborigines, and that just broke my heart. Like, how could that possibly be? And I think it was one of the times it was really, because I used to always wonder, what was this like? What was this place like? And I remember going over to Europe, and I didn't go to overseas till I was much older. And I was doing something to do with music, and a lot of people were dancing from their country at this, and they had these songs and they had these dances, and I wondered, well, where's my song and where's my dance? I don't have one. And yet, as Australians, we had to get up and do something. And we performed something from the Torres Strait Islands, which is a beautiful part of the world, but it's nothing like Lutruwita, Tasmania. And I came back asking those kind of questions. And then to have Aboriginal people, particularly Dwayne Everett Smith, who's been a fabulous person to have worked with, share a song called Milatina and encourage us all to be singing this beautiful, beautiful song. It was actually the song, I belong here. I'm part of this story. And yeah, that's what's really special to me. So yeah, thank you that's a lovely question. I guess how do we all feel about that?
Yeah, I know. And if there was more time, it would be great to get everyone to sort of send in a response. These webinars are always so short, but class time is precious. So thank you for everyone that watches. I'll just read out a couple of the comments because there's a couple of really great comments. Bridport Primary School, Year 5, 6A, commented, congratulations on making this beautiful video and sharing it with us. And that's a huge congratulations to the students as well, obviously. Phoebe from the Tas eSchool says that the art and poem were cool. Thanks, Phoebe. Someone else of the Tas eSchool said it was really nice to see traditional Aboriginal symbols incorporated into the artwork. Lovely comment. Christy from, I thought that Christy is from Queenstown, but if I've gotten that wrong, feel free to pull me up. Yeah, she is. She's from St. Joseph's in Queenstown. And she said, thank you, Cynthia. We love it here. There is a showing of Bay of Fires on Friday night at the Paragon, which I am looking forward to see. So
yeah, that's that amazing film that's coming up. It's like, Queenstown, you guys are on fire.
yeah. And Tas eSchool have also made the comment, I think this is from Gillian, maybe the teacher, that language and arts at the centre of the curriculum is so good, and we completely agree. And I had some questions that were answered live. Just seeing if there's, Christy's also mentioned that St. Joseph's Queenstown is where they are is the home of the Mimigan people, and I'm sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. So many great questions, so many great comments. We have loved having you on the show, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And look, I'd be really interested in finding out what other schools might, if they utilize this sort of idea and how it's transformed within your school and your area and your country. Yeah,
definitely. Well, I'm sending an email out after this just to all the people that registered in case they had difficulty re-registering. I might send out the recording too. And if you're okay with it, Cynthia, I can include your contact details in case people do have, people do want to chat with you or have questions. It's been really interesting to hear about the process and hear about the students themselves that made the video.
Absolutely, it'd be fabulous.
Yeah, great. All right, well, we might finish up. Thank you for everyone that stayed on a bit longer. Next month, we've got Science Week. It'll happen during that Science Week. I'm still confirming the speaker, so it'll probably most likely be on the Monday during Science Week, but you can find out via our website. And happy NAIDOC Week, everyone. See you later. Bye.
Bye.